Welcome back. We're here to cover the divine feminine. And for those of you that don't know, I'm Yildiz from Yildiz Readings 5D, psychic medium, clairvoyant, intuitive astrologer, and soul coach. Now, if you do want this content pre-released or you wish a booking, you can go to the link directly below and find any of the information you need. Otherwise, you can PM the chat box. Now, let's get into the read and see what I see coming through for you guys, or for those of you that are cross-watching the divine feminine. Now, I'm getting a few messages from this, and this is a portal where, yes, okay, very likely, with the eclipse that we're moving into, we are energetically going to be grappling with Jupiter in Leo and the South Node in Leo. Now, I feel you're going to be having a little bit of a revelation. I also do get a message that things can come about in very unusual ways. And I don't necessarily get that as something negative. I do feel it's positive, but it could actually surprise you. That's what my guides are telling me. Now, your crowning energy. This isn't about at any point in time that we're trying to make something, we're not trying to sugarcoat things. We want realism, we want reality, although there can be a humbling circumstance. And I do see a few clues in the cards that not only is this about a romantic connection, but it's also about realizing you can be you, you can have your dreams, and you can have your cake too. And that's what they're showing me. Not in a toxic way, though. But they are saying you're so much more at the core level than what you believe you are. And some revelations are going to come about in this. Now, we'll look at the cards again. We're going to go to the top row. The most recent past, which I think is interesting. How can I articulate this? More than likely, your perception of this past has become a bit dry, a bit too realistic, where both subjects exist, and I'll explain what I mean by this. I've always used the reference point of the X-Files. Both the spiritual realm and the 3D coexist together. They're part of life. The magic, the manifestation, the things that can come about unexpectedly. The song you think of that's, not even on the radio. You turn the radio on and it's there. You're channeling this energy and you're tuning into this direct frequency. More than likely, the reason why you are maybe very realistic, very logical, and not tapping into that spiritual realm at the moment, which is going to come online pretty profoundly, because we are by months end going to have that eclipse in Pisces. So your dream state can be pretty big, and you could be trying to decipher the codes of it, and dream journaling can be quite possibly very beneficial for you at this time, even if you're still trying to decipher what's being shown to you. Something that is impossible is going to come to be, but it's also going to say to you, you won't be able to fake it till you make it here. This has to be real, not just for what your friends say, what your family says, what's good for the crowd, but really what is you? What is this new version of you? You could be having these dizzy spells and feeling like you're going in circles and you're not quite sure. And for some of you, you could be gospelly sure, but really having a revelation after and during these eclipse portals that something in you is stirring, that you don't want it to be taken from you, because the earned energy of ascension is quite sacred. And I think that once you move through particular portals, you come to know that your peace, your sanity, your authenticity, your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations, you've worked hard to achieve those. And so what is true to you, what is really authentic to you, it's a little bit like you are Cinderella trying to put your shoe on, but it's Drusilla's shoe. It doesn't fit. So what's not going to fit, it's going to be extremely hard to fake that. They're also asking you to look at when we look at that ascension process, and of course, obviously, say we're looking at a twin flame video and it's connected to the joint connection. These I do at a collective level because they're portals of energy you're moving through. Keep in mind that at this point we do have transitions happening with Juno, and Juno does oftentimes directly, and I'll put Juno up 1 minute. do you know oftentimes can impact the twin flame path? Because in the retrograde cycle, what we tend to find is we are having assimilation and we're reviewing circumstances. So, work related subjects, family, hierarchical systems. We have Juno shifting this year between two areas, Aquarius and Capricorn. And, what psychically was being shown to me by August 11th, it shifts back into Capricorn. We could be grappling with circumstances that were hindering that process in that old cycle back prior to 2020. That's what's been shown to me. Now, in the retrograde, we're judging those things, especially if you're a divine feminine, you're looking at it, it's judging that circumstance. It's going into the judgment phase. You're going through assimilation, some bitterness, some sadness, some frustration. Look, if you've done a lot of work, it could just be observational. When you're dealing with, I would say, any connections during its retrograde, it's trying to show you something. Is it positive to deal with connections of the past? Yes, generally it is. But I would say don't go all in gun ho. You go into that circumstance and see how both have evolved and if the middle can join. Now, some of this will come through post eclipse and Pisces, because it is linking to the 12th house, and I do see that changing. But one circumstance they're wanting me to reference to you is in your ascension process, you are also very separate. You are individual as well as joint. The joint energy can be the ascension process and then the union reunion. The separate section is you as an individual. And believe you me, many of us are going to be shifting through the confidence factor of that due to placements in Aries. So the message that's coming through here, and we'll go back to the cards, is belonging to your own dreams. Now, moving forward here, this card is in reverse. I want to be queen. Okay, it's in reverse. So, putting the crown on, interesting that there's the Leo energy there. I think you're working through a process of what you want. Sometimes the integration of it, ever notice when we're manifesting something or when we say, hey, it's been in the ethers, I've felt the energy, I've got the signs and synchronicities, why hasn't it shown up? Sometimes it's about moving into the worthiness of it and going into the belief system of, I can have this is for me. But I also do feel you have not wanted to control this. You have wanted to, or you've handed the baton over, and it's almost like, look, show your cards, show your strength, move forward, show me you leveled up. Something inside of your soul also needs feeding, very separately to this situation. And look at the foundation. This is where it gets interesting. We have, the movement forward. You've got wanting to be the queen of this situation. Look at the individual where the crown is kind of lopsided, which I do think is interesting, and it's quite a tactical approach that we must take with Jupiter and the South Node in Leo. What is yours is coming back to you because of the way you reacted in the past. Now, you might be questioning that. Have I acted appropriately? Have I been the queen? Was I the queen? Or did somebody take my crown? Now, if somebody took your crown, it's being returned. But we must own that crown in a healthy way, not an egoic way. Does that make sense? And that's the caution of the South Node. You've earned this right to be on the throne. You must believe in yourself. But it doesn't necessarily come through the way you thought. Now, I find this card really interesting at a foundation level, which is some lesson I learned in my path. What is an example I could give you? If a person has come in and cut your lunch and you were, let's go to the top. You weren't sugarcoating things. You weren't painting the roses red. You've been pretty transparent. You've been careful over the years about what you share and what you don't. If a person has, through false pretenses, painted you in a particular light, you never had to prove who you were. I'm looking at the cat as well, and cats have 9 lives, so it always comes full circle. And in the shadow of the back, when we are acting authentically through the good, the bad, and the ugly, the chickens will always come home to roost. Now, you may be surprised how this happens, and you may also have empathy because to get to this place in your life, it has been horrendous. Let's put it that way. Now, if somebody comes to cut your lunch and takes it and they try to paint you in a particular way, although many would feel early on when their hand has been burnt, they have been metaphorically stabbed in the back, it is natural to be defensive. It's natural to be defensive. When we have done the shadow work, and you see this girl here in the heart of it, like I had to shift the focus back onto myself. You come full circle in what circumstances have taken from you, but what it's given you back is your full self. And when you become a whole individual and you have your dreams and you are, you know, we're not perfect, but the purity of the essence of, I'm tired, I don't want to be an ego. If you don't want me to be here, that's cool. I'm going to do me, boo. And you're just following your bliss. You have that love in your heart, you have that connection. You know, there was, you know, maybe times where you could have been a bit higher in ascension process or more authentic, but ultimately you had that pure heart there. It was not intentional to be a negative energy. Now, you're not wanting to play games, right? So here we have almost like something's coming back and it's going in your favor, and you're looking at the card going, how the hell did I earn this? Now, could you have sudden empathy for a person that has a tower? You could you move into vengefulness? That would probably be a bad idea, honestly. Now, if you're doing it just because something happens in a certain way, there's a natural ecosystem of life. And, you know, the card law is not justice. Coming full circle and visually looking at why karmics operate the way they do, I realised that unless they as individuals could break their cycle, that was a dismal way of living. And so empathy in my heart chakra came because I realised, wow, you're going to keep repeating this cycle. So you're really not believing in yourself, doing the inner work. Look at divine feminine here on the top row. You may wonder many times, my beautifuls, why the hell have I been to hell and back? And I totally get where you're coming from. But the clearing of that heart chakra you do, believe me, you're going to be lighter, and it's for you for the rest of your life. Because as karmics, right, and we see this law is not justice. Rules that are not fair. Now, life is not fair. We all know that. What happened to you was not fair. Having to do the shadow work and be a better person was not fair, especially when you feel there's no reward. It's like, but still, you're trying to get to the pure essence of where you need to be. Nature takes its course. We all see this, even for good people and bad people. Nature takes its course because we all are forced at some point to do the work. So when you see a person that hasn't done the work, you naturally know what you've gone through. So you will go, hell, you're gonna be in it. You're going to be in it, karmics, like, because we also weren't immune to that. We also had to do that shadow work. Something is coming back and it's balanced. Universe is giving you some signs and synchronicities. They want you to know what's not fair always balances out. They also want you to know that you won't have to try for this, because when you are sitting on a throne and waiting and knowing your worth, and knowing that sometimes ascension takes time, and especially with divine masculine's cycle, it takes time. Where you come to is the nature energy. You're getting grounded. You're believing that Mother Nature does what they need to do, does what it needs to do to bring these things about. You are more connected to the vibration. You are more connected to Earth Hertz when you are in that frequency, and what you are will be attracted to you. When your light is actually attracting this individual in. Your light is bringing this person back full circle, because what you nurture is also for you. I do truly believe also some of you are actually going to realize you want something for yourself. And it's not just about a relationship. It's about a dream. It's about fun. It's about connections. It's about what you want to stand for in this world. We always hear about twin flames and their sole purpose on this planet. You are separate to this as well. You do have a distinct signature to bring to the world. You are more than a romantic energy. Do you know retrograde is trying to show you that? Yes, you can have a relationship, but you also can be you and the beautiful light of what you bring to the planet. And you need to come back to remembrance. The authentic dream for you is being birthed. And some of these things are probably going to be better and easier than you thought. All of the editions are out now, and if you do want a private booking linking to your joint connection or other, you can find all the links directly below. But we do have the masculine, feminine, and karmic third party out now. So, like I said, if you do want to visit the website, all of the information is directly below. We also have our membership site and its landing page, which can be found via Yildiz Readings 5D, the website. And if you want to sign up to that to be notified when the next portal of doors is open for public, please sign up to it and I'll email you as soon as it's open. Take care and tell me, how does this read land for you?